Hi everyone! Today I wanted to do another special tag, and this is the Sims tag. This was created by Haley from Haley in Bookland, so I will link her video in the description below, so you guys can see that too. But Sims is very close to me, so I wanted to do this fun little tag. So there's a series of questions that relate to Sims, the game, and you need to find a book that kind of relates to that. So the first one is the original Sims. Sims is really popular, and this one is which is the best author debut, so the original. So author debut. I decided to go with a 2017 author debut. Since these are probably the most fresh in my mind, and I actually chose Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And the reason why I chose Caraval was because this book made me want to find out the rest of the story. There was great writing, it was adventurous about these two sisters who go to this magical place, and by the end, this book kind of focused on the one sister. And by the end, I was like, it would be great if this was a duology. And the second book was kind of focused on the second sister, and they can, like, conquer Caraval again, or just, go through that again. And there's the mystery of who's actually doing what. So I'm going to go with Caraval by Stephanie Garber. So that's the first one. The second one is the Grim Reaper. So in Sims, there's a lot of deaths. You can make deaths happen, and so this is the saddest character death in a book. I'm going to go with Beth March from Little Women, and I read this as a child, and even whenever I read the chapter where Beth dies, it is just so sad, and I just can't help tearing up every time, just the way it was written, and it was really good. So I'm gonna go with Beth from Little Women. The next one is Sims Getting Stuck. So this is a character that just got in the way. There are times where just things happen and you're like, come on, why is this happening? And the character who always seems to be getting in the way of things whenever I read it, it's kind of funny, but I'm going to go with Mr. Collins from Pride and Prejudice. Mr. Collins shows up unannounced. He is just, he goes, even at the people who are his benefactors, he just is always at their house. He is just a nuisance, and at the ball, he even just blatantly just goes and introduces himself to Mr. Darcy, so I'm going to go with Mr. Collins. He's very annoying that way, too. Simlish. So, Sims is, in the game, there is a language that the Sims talk, and I can still hear it in my head sometimes, but for this one is a book with amazing writing, and the one that kind of stood out to me within the past year was Heartless by Marissa Mayer, and it's not necessarily how she wrote, but how she weaved the story of the original Alice in Wonderland into this story was, I thought, just really, really great, and that's what kept making me want to read more and more. Like, she'll use phrases, or she'll use just words that make me think of the original one, and then that makes the whole book feel like it's in the Wonderland world. So I'm gonna go with this one for just for a book with amazing writing. There were some others. There was one that I was kind of debating because just the way they wrote was really good, but this is the one that really stood out to me. Expansion packs. So if you know, Sim has a ton of expansion packs. Some are really cool, and so this is a series where the books kept on getting better and better. And I'm going to go with the Harry Potter series. And the first book always is the one that just like grips you in. That's the one where Harry Potter, first starts going to Hogwarts, and you learn about the different houses. It's your first little immersion into the Harry Potter world. But as each book keeps going, J.K. Rowling she just expanded the world. Some of the best books are not even, for me, the first couple. I mean, they're good, but I mean, I loved book 4, and I really loved book 7. So, the Goblet of Fire and the Deathly Hallows. So just as the books kept going, it just made you want to read more, and just the culmination was very, very good. Because there are some series where the last book is a little downer. These, for me, were not. Sims romance, the worst case of insta love. So in the game of Sims, people can follow up at the drop of a hat, and for me, the worst case in literature of insta love is Romeo and Juliet, and I do not like this story. For those of you who don't know, it just takes place within a day or two, and I think he falls in love with her when he's going to a party to meet another girl, and just all this happens because of that. So for me, and they are, I think, just like 13, so this, for me, we know what happens at the end, so this for me was the worst case of insta-love, Romeo and Juliet, because it takes place within just 24 hours, or 2 days, 1 or 2 days, so, yeah. So, insta-love, that one. Cheats, a book that was entirely unrealistic. So, in Sims, as in a lot of games, there are cheats, codes you can put in to get more money or get to do different stuff. A book that was unrealistic. So, I had a hard time kind of picking this one out. I chose Geekerella. Now, if you watched my review of Geekerella, I love this book. I really, really, really love this book. But it was a bit unrealistic. It's about this girl who falls in love with the actor who's playing her favorite character in the reboot of her favorite sci-fi series. Now, as much as anyone would love to start texting Chris Pine when he started doing the Star Trek movies it just kind of unrealistic in how just some of the stuff came. But even though it was unrealistic, it's very fanciful and very whimsical and just a lot of fun to read. So this was my choice, but I still love the book. So, Geekerella. Needs fulfillment, a character who made all the wrong decisions. So in Sims, sometimes, depending where you put your people, they just stay there and are just one-track mind. So a character who made all the wrong decisions, and I'm going to have to go with America from the selection. This is a kind of a series of Bachelor meets royalty. It was really a fun series, but America, the main character, she's really annoying. And she keeps making all the wrong decisions just personally and in the selection. And there was just some times when I just wanted to go, what are you thinking? What? That was the wrong decision. Okay, that was the wrong decision. Well, what do you expect the consequences to be? So, fun series to read, but she was a little bit annoying in that, and she just made a lot of wrong decisions in the game there. So, that one was that. Error Code 12, a series that started off great, but that went downhill from there. I have read a lot of series, but a lot of them I liked and finished, so I was having trouble kind of thinking which were the series that I liked but didn't finish. And The only one that I could think of was actually the Inkheart series. This is the first book, Inkheart by Cornelia Funke, and the first book was really, really good. It's about this little girl, and she finds out that fairy stories are real, and then her and her dad go on adventures and stuff. So I really, really enjoyed the first book. But when I started the second one, I just didn't get into it. This is a middle grade book, so I thought it would be like kind of easy to go through. But it just didn't capture my interest. I want to go back and try again and see if the books capture my interest or not. But yeah, this is one I read the first book, and this, I think there's 3 books, and I just couldn't even get through it. But that's not to say that I don't want to. But yeah, yeah. So there's that one. The Sims Vortex, a book series that completely engrosses you. If you have played Sims or like any type of video games or computer games, there are times where you just get so enthralled with it, and especially with Sims where you can spend hours and hours and hours playing it. And a book series that completely engrossed me, I'm going to go with the most recent one that just was very imaginative and just I couldn't stop reading it, and that is the Illuminae series. The 3rd book is not out, but the first 2 books I could not stop reading them. These stories are presented in like emails, transcripts, pictures. They're sci-fi books, but not just the way they're presented, but the story just engrosses you, and before you know it, you just spend so much time reading and lost in this world. So that was my Sims tag and how they relate to books. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll be doing some more of these tags, because they've been a lot of fun to do. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.